the #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to episode 132 of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Beckson. Today, we're going to be talking with Kate Gordon, who's been living in Costa Rica for the past few years, and among many things, runs a business called Costa Rica Concierge Services. Helps people with basically residency, shipping, and kind of moving here to Costa Rica. So it's going to be great to be chat to her about her experiences of moving and living here with her young son, and also advice that she has for people that are looking to invest or relocate here to Costa Rica. Remember, guys, if you need any help with any projects here in Costa Rica or investing, we've helped quite a few of you invest, build homes, find homes, condos, build hotels, or find the right piece of land here in Costa Rica. We have all of that in the office. I have engineers, architects, project managers. There's not much that we haven't done. Also, I have a long-term car rental business as well, which some of you are aware of because you've rented cars with us as well. Just there was a need for it, so I thought, why not fill it? But you can reach out to us, info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. If you've liked this podcast, guys, please feel free to give us a thumbs up, 5-star reviews, and pass the pod, as they say. It's quite a few of you have been passing it out among your friends that have been wanting to invest here in Costa Rica. So I know there's quite a few episodes now. I know a few of you have actually listened to them all. But yeah, I just really appreciate everyone's support and also kind of getting the all of this great knowledge out there as well. Remember, you can contact us, info@investingcostarica.com. But let's get straight into the podcast, guys. Good morning, Kate. How are you doing?
Good, Richard. How are you?
Very, very good. I really appreciate you making time in what I know is a very busy schedule to join us here on the podcast and share some of your experience.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, Kate, I mean, the question I always like to ask is kind of get a bit of an update of what you're seeing kind of in the Costa Rican kind of investment real estate market. I know that you're up there in Guanacaste, which is in the North Pacific for anyone that's not familiar with it. But I mean, a lot of current world economic, issues going on at the moment. I mean, but what are you seeing happening in your part of the country?
Well, I live really close to the Flamingo Marina. We just had our grand opening on Monday, and it was packed. So, I mean, where I live, it's kind of got its own booming economy. There's a lot of people that are here that are retired, but there's still a lot of young professionals with kids that have moved to the area and still work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's like sleepy towns in Costa Rica that are more calm and easygoing, but here is definitely still a lot going on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the interesting thing on our we did a podcast a while back with Oliver. Oliver lives over in Reserva Conchao, and he was just saying just prior to kind of COVID, there were some families moving here, but it was mainly kind of more someone buying a vacation home or kind of people, retiring and moving down. Whereas that seems to have completely changed and just a lot more families, moving down because
Yes.
they can remote work or they start businesses here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like the best is when you can have like a remote job with a great salary.
Yep.
Because Costa Rica it's expensive. So that could be one of the shocking factors when you get here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's more expensive that like I'm from Tennessee, and yeah, like we have La Paz, like I live very close to La Paz school. It's a great school. My son goes there, and I think that school alone last year got 80 new families.
Wow.
Yes. So like
Wow.
Thousands of people have moved to this area.
Well, I mean, the concerns that I speak to people, when they're looking potentially to move their families here is schooling. Is there a good enough schooling? Community, like, am I going to find a community with friends?
Yeah, of course.
And then I think thirdly is just the like security point of view. I mean, what would be your opinion on those three things with regards to, school, community, and security?
I mean, I think we're very lucky because we live in Mar Vista at the moment.
Yep.
So it's a gated community, 24/7 security. It's great. I literally leave my car open, my door open. I wouldn't suggest that. That's just my habit coming from the countryside. But I feel like it's very safe. and there is sticky fingers, but there's never any like, real bad crime. I wouldn't have.
Opportunistic.
Yeah, it's just opportunistic because it's hard for the locals to keep up with the economy getting more expensive, which is totally understandable. But like I have a great community, and there's beachside church if you feel like going to a non-denominational church.
Yep.
We've got plenty of activities that are like family friendly. We've got like a water park. Obviously, we have these most beautiful beaches. Like Conchal is literally the most beautiful beach in the world at the moment. And we just wrote a blog on that. And I mean, there's plenty to do. Like, there's a lot of fun. There's hiking, there's kayaking. And then at school, they have a lot of activities after school as well. So I feel like it's a well-rounded community.
And I mean, people basically shouldn't be worried that they're not going to make friends, right? Like their kids are going to make friends. They're going to make friends. That's what I say. I'm like, guys, you're going to be sick of friends by the end of this.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, and it's very warming community because I feel like also we're very like-minded, right? Because if you're going to leave your home country and try to do, the leap of faith, I mean, we all understand like what it's like and what we're all going through together. So
yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I remember I was down in the southern area of Costa Rica the other day, and someone was like, you can tell how long someone's been here. For about the first 3 months, they talk about politics. And if nobody ever mentions politics, you know that they've been here longer than 3 months, because really, nobody cares here.
No. We're kind of in our Jumanji bubble.
Exactly. But I mean, you mentioned there kind of the cost of living, but I mean, what are some of the other biggest shocks and surprises or advice that you would give people when moving to Costa Rica?
Cars and electronics are pretty much double the price than in the United States. So if you're used to that, and if you're used to just going on Amazon or like, going to the bank and getting a loan for a car that's cheap, we don't have that here. So get ready. So if you are moving here, like there are certain things that I would bring. I would bring your vehicle.
Yep.
And there's like other things like if you have a great sofa, a great mattress, if you love your kitchenware, I would bring those things with you.
Well, let's just talk about that a little bit. You said bring them, you mean ship them here?
Yeah. Yes, so you can get a container.
I know that your business basically helps people ship those things here to Costa Rica. I mean, how complicated is that process? Meaning if I'm in the States, I want to bring my car to Costa Rica. I mean, do I not do anything? Can you guys take care of it? I mean, what would be the process as the customer that I would go through?
Yeah, we take care of everything because I have heard of nightmare stories where like someone's just waiting for their truck and it's sitting there in San Jose for a year.
Yep.
So no, it depends on where you're coming from. But like me personally, I brought my car from Miami on a container. So there's a shipping company that you work with in Miami, and you have to coordinate. It's all about coordination and communication and the people that you know. So in Aduana, that's what it's called, the branch here in Costa Rica that will basically value your goods, and then they're going to ask for a certain amount in taxes. So that needs to be paid once your shipping container comes. And it's a very simple process. But if you communicate and have good timing and stay on top of it, I got my truck in 3 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys basically will make that whole process easy because I mean, for anyone, I think coming from the States wanting to ship their car here, I mean, I think getting it in the US.
They speak Spanish, so
that helps. Yeah.
Get ready. Yeah.
I mean, I could only imagine bringing a car here and going into aduanas, which is customs, getting through that process, paying taxes, making sure you've got everything, and then getting it here to Costa Rica. If like this is your first time and you don't speak Spanish, it would be a nightmare.
It could be, yeah.
So
and you have to learn how the Registro Nacional works. So you register the car as a Costa Rican vehicle under your name, transferring the title, and then you have to pay the Marchamo and the Reteve inspection.
Yeah.
So people don't even know that exists. We have a normal yearly inspection for our cars in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it was surprising actually that in the States that you guys don't do that. I mean, in the UK, we do it every year. Here in Costa Rica,
okay.
That like cars need to be checked every year just to make sure they're roadworthy.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know why we don't do it in the US.
I think you had it in the US for a while though, I believe. But someone was mentioning it the other day.
Do what?
I think you had it for a while in the States years back, but I think we did away with it. But I don't know. Anyway, Anyway.
I moved here when I was 22 years old, by the way.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, we're the same age. I was 20. I
So,
just turned 23 when I moved as well. So,
oh, okay. Yeah.
so yeah.
10-year mark this October.
I'm 18 next week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been
No blink of an eye.
Exactly. Well, I mean, again, as I'd mentioned here, you set up the company Costa Rica Concierge. I mean, why did you set that up? And, just give us an idea of what services you offer, because I don't think there's enough services out there, or kind of like a one-stop shop to helping people kind of move to Costa Rica.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it was inspired from a developer. A Canadian developer contacted me about 2 years ago, when the pandemic was knee-deep. And there was 50 families that wanted to move to Costa Rica together. So
Wow.
he designed basically he was asking me to find temporary homes. So like he was thinking of buying like a big hotel,
Yep.
renovating out the rooms so they had something to live in quickly. And then while their homes were being built here in Costa Rica. So that inspired me to basically, like, first thing we did was a simple flyer, honestly. And then we built the website. We made sure the branding was on point. So it would catch people's attention. So basically, yeah. So you can call me and I'll spend, about 30 minutes or an hour for free. You can ask me anything, pick my brain. And then we can do a 2-hour deep dive if you want me to help you with whatever it is. So it could be figuring out which type of residency you want, explaining that whole process, helping you with shipping your goods to Costa Rica and making that as smooth as possible. And then other things are getting in contact with builders, like who to trust.
Yep.
If you're looking at land, or if you need to learn how building is in Costa Rica. Also, if you want to buy a business or start a business when you get here, to understand how the taxes work, how hiring HR works, what are the labor laws in Costa Rica, things like that. Yeah.
I mean, I think, basically it's a concierge service for anything you want to kind of do in Costa Rica. And you've got the experience. So yeah, it's just kind of making sure people don't, fall down the pitfalls of, of things that we've seen many, many people do here.
Yeah. Don't come with assumptions. Right.
Yeah,
So yeah, like I just had a new client. She even asked me to help her find a nanny because she works a lot, even simple things like that, from introducing in the community, who would be maybe like easygoing to have a new friend, which schools, how to get healthcare insurance, how the banking works.
Yeah. I mean, basically it's a full service concierge service for moving to Costa Rica. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah. I mean, I tripped over every rock, I would say. For the last 10 years, I made like all the mistakes. So that was a good thing, because now I know what to avoid and I think ahead, and I'm very detail oriented. I don't skip things, and I make things very simple.
Awesome. Well, I mean, just jumping into residency a little bit, because there are, different avenues to take on that. I mean, what is your advice when people are looking to get residency here? I mean, what are some of the questions that you ask them, and is it necessary?
It's not necessary. I mean, if you like taking a forced vacation every 90 days, I mean, people go to Nicaragua because it's the closest border, or it's cheap flights to Guatemala, which is another very beautiful country close by, Panama. So you can stay on the tourist visa for 90 days as well as your vehicle, and you just leave with your car. But if you don't want to do that and you really feel like you want to settle down, there's different categories for residency. So I feel like one of the most popular ones right now is the investor category, because it was lowered over the years. It was like 250, 200. Now it's only 150,000. So if you come and buy a truck, and the truck's maybe 40,000, and then you buy land, there you go. You pretty much just invested 150 grand. So you would be eligible for the investor category. And there's other categories. I mean, thinking about women, if you are pregnant and you have your baby here, then that can actually make it easier and quicker, because your son or daughter can have citizenship. Rentista is a different category. That's probably the most complicated. You have to deposit $2,500 every single month into the bank for 2 years, so it's $60,000. But
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a variety of different avenues that you can do to get residency here, and
yeah,
it's not what should I say? It's not difficult unless, of course, I think the difficulty is if you don't come with money and you just want to kind of live here, then it gets a little bit more difficult to get residency if you want to actually work, from here. So I think it's just, yeah, you've just got to just be clear of the avenues that you can do for residency. But as you mentioned, a lot of people don't get residency. They leave every 90 days. But sometimes even immigration can be like, hey, I'm only giving you 30 days, or I'm only giving you 60 days. Sometimes it just depends.
yeah.
But yeah, I
Like if
mean,
you're a digital nomad,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, you can get residency, but if you have like, if you're single and you don't have a family and you don't want to, travel with kids or you don't have a pet, if you're alone, I mean, 90 days is no problem. It's
yeah.
easy. And there's even, I think it's Tamarindo Transfers and Tours. It's really cheap. They shuttle you to the border, you go and you have fun, you buy some things, you get your stamp and you come right back.
Yeah. What are some of the other shocks that you think that people have when they first move here? Beyond the cost, because I think people think, Central America, it's cheap. I'm like, Costa Rica is not cheap, but we pay for the weather. I'm like, we pay for the weather. You have no idea how amazing the
Yeah.
weather here is in Costa Rica.
Yeah. So, because I'm thinking, because for me, I've been here for 10 years, so like I'm already like so used to it. But I would say it could be a shock if you move here when the last rainfall hits, like right around
Yep.
Christmas. And it was strange this year because I was on my son's birthday, January 21st. It rained, which is very late. Usually it's like right on Christmas Day, and you won't see a raindrop for 6 months.
Yep.
That could be shocking.
What about like the Costa Rican culture? I mean, some people find that, a little, the passive aggressiveness of Ticos sometimes, if they don't like, you have to pull stuff out of them sometimes because they don't want to offend. They don't want to say anything negative sometimes. And
Okay.
so, yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
if you wanted to hit on this topic.
No, not at all. Let's cover it just because I think anyone coming down here is going to have to get used to it. Of like, we're very direct in the Western world. We don't like something, we tell people, right? You in Costa Rica, like you have to like give it suavecito, like it needs to be really soft. Of like, hey,
Yes.
you did really good there. If you wouldn't mind next time, maybe we could just do it this way, but you did a really good job.
Yeah. So with trying to avoid any sort of generalizing comments,
Of course.
because everyone's, their own individuals. But it is definitely very prevailing that we can come off as too strong. It could be the tone of our voice. We're not even yelling and they could be like totally offended.
Yep.
Yeah. So we come off as kind of like very direct. And I actually saw this in the Caribbean too. Like I grew up part-time in the Caribbean. So when you come up to someone and say, hey, how are you? And then like in the United States, we're like, oh, we're good. Even if we're not good, we lie and we're like, we're fine. And then you just move on. Sometimes they will sit down and they will tell you how they really are at breakfast for 45 minutes. So yeah, so they're it's about a relationship, which is why it's really important to respect the culture here and have good relationships that are trusting, honest. But I have noticed, yeah, so it's very non-confrontational. Even the police, when your job is supposed to be confrontational, they don't like it. They also really, if they can't do it, like for us, like if I don't have the answer, I will tell you I don't know, but I will give me some time to go find it. And here it's really tough, especially like property management. If you need a plumber or electrician and you're saying, hey, I need help with this, they're like, yeah, sure, I can do it. And then they really couldn't. So it does waste a lot of time and money. So you have to be like very clear. Even when I speak perfect Spanish, I have to sometimes say it like 5 different ways to make sure I actually got my answer because they won't still not answer your question.
I think that there are 2 things. Number one is you have to understand this country is 80% relationships, 20% business, not the other way around as it is in the Western world.
Yeah, exactly.
And number 2, the word no does not exist. You won't hear no that often. You'll hear sí as like a sí is maybe.
Right. Yes.
Maybe tal vez is probably a no, but no one will say to you no.
No, they won't.
But that's the beauty of this country. Everyone is just so friendly and wants to help, and they do want to help,
Yeah, it all comes from a good place, for sure.
Exactly. I just say to people sometimes, I'm like, look, you can say no. You know, when they
Yeah,
kind of when they hesitate a little bit, I'm like, no is also an answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But hey, I love it though, just because, you know, I mean, that's just the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you learn a lot. Many lessons have been learned in Costa Rica, I'll tell you that.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I mean, let's just change gears a little bit into kind of beach towns. I mean, which beach towns in Costa Rica kind of excite you for investment and why? I know you've kind of been all over, mainly kind of in the Guanacaste area, but which are the beach towns where you're like, I just really like that beach town and I'd invest there?
Um, where I live is great for me because I've got a 3-year-old. My clients are my neighbors. The Wi-Fi, the internet's great, the infrastructure is great. I'm not retired, right? So I don't
Yep.
want to be too sleepy. I'm not living on a trust fund in a hippie town, you know what I mean, like in the
Yeah.
jungle. So I have to work still, and I like that we have a social life for my son and myself.
Yep.
So I like the Brasilito Flamingo area. Um, and basically in 2019 and 2020, there was amazing deals. You could have snatched up a house or land and it literally doubled in less
Yep.
than a year. So you could have made a lot of money if you got in this area in the right time. If you didn't, it's still okay. Like a lot of people are going to Samara, which is just it's like 2 hours door to door south from here, and Samara is about 30% cheaper. There's land, and then if you do want to have like a real Costa Rican experience, if you went out to Osa Peninsula
Yeah.
and Manuel Antonio area, there's great deals. Like, yeah,
Yeah. I'm actually
that's like the lone frontier though.
I'm inspecting a 250 hectare farm out there on Wednesday for a client, and like it's a great
Oh,
price, just amazing.
I know. My friend told me he saw a whole mountain for sale for $1 million.
Yeah. Well, this is less than a million for these 250 hectares. So
Yeah,
yeah,
see, that's my point.
yeah. So
And people just need to like have someone like you or like an engineer or a really good builder, yeah, to be your friend, because if you want to get large tracts of land like that, I feel like that's the best way to do it.
yeah.
Investment, yeah, but you just need a good engineer, a good builder to help you understand like getting the light poles in, building the roads. So how much does the infrastructure cost, and then the permits past, not just buying the land. Yeah, what are you going to do with it?
Well, it's funny that you say that just because, again, you know, I always use my own experiences. Today, I go to Aranao. I'm looking at buying a farm in Aranao at the moment, like close to the volcano. And I've done 4 months of due diligence on it now. Spoke to the engineer at the local water association, the ASADA. And basically, with the infrastructure I need to put in place to get water to the lot, the electricity, the road and stuff, I'll spend more on infrastructure than I will the land. You know, but I'm fine with that because I know the value, you know, if that makes sense. But
Sure.
you know, sometimes when I have people that want large tracts of land, they're like, I'm just going to cut it up. I'm like, it's not that easy to cut up anymore. You need a legal water source in order to do it. And they're like, well, I'll just dig a well. I'm like, depending on where you are, you can't dig wells in Guanacaste at the moment. You can't drill them. But like subdividing land here, I'm sure that you're aware, it's just a nightmare. You know, it's not a nightmare. It's just complicated and time consuming. But yeah, I mean, I agree, you know, Kate, just having a good team around you is vital,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
And it's amazing how many people come down and don't do that, though. You know, it's kind of penny wise, pound foolish of like, no, I've got this, you know, I've done it. You know, I've seen so many developers just get blitzed down here, you know, from other countries where I'm like, you just don't understand. I mean, take Mar Vista, you know, Moose or you know, Alejandro, the guys there, that's been going on for years,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
I think 30 years now, right?
yep.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, but I mean, what other beach towns would you say in Guanacaste that you would look at investing in? I mean, I think that, you know, the Flamingo Potrero area is good, pretty expensive, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. So here you're going to be, if you're looking at raw land, if the lots are available, because a lot got scooped up,
Yeah.
you're looking at $60 a square meter. But if you go 40 minutes south, to like Playa Negra, Avellanes, Fukial, which has like world-class surf, it's
Yep.
close to Hacienda Pinilla and Tamarindo, so you're not that far away. It's like $25, $30 a square meter.
Yeah. One has good
It's
infrastructure
beautiful.
and good infrastructure as well.
Well, the road, yeah, I mean, the road, that highway out to Hunkyal's huge, and it
Yeah.
has sidewalks, which is shocking.
Yes. I mean, they constantly talk about paving, to Hacienda Pinilla. A little bit got done and I haven't seen any more. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
I always say in Costa Rica, if you don't see it, like if it's not happening, don't believe it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, well, hey, my last question for you is this has been great, but the question I love to ask everyone is if you had $500,000 and had to invest it into a business or real estate in Costa Rica, what would you do with it and why?
A business or real estate. Okay. I mean, I'd probably hire someone like you. I would hire you. I was saying earlier, I was like, after the podcast, we need to talk. Because and try to find those land deals that still exist.
Yep.
Think about long-term investment. Because you could have done flipping in the last couple of years and you would have made a lot of money.
Yep.
But now I think if you find the deals, you might have to sit on it. But it's going to be well worth it for if you have kids to inherit that. That would be beautiful. Because even if they're sleepy towns today, they're not going to be in 20 years and 30 years.
And there are still deals out there as well. Again, you just need to scratch around a little bit sometimes and find them.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to fit it in my schedule with my negative hours.
I have the advantage, of course, of just sometimes as I spend all my time out, but people hire me to help them find those deals. So it's kind of, it's kind of nice because again, I just bought a condo in Tamarindo. I just bought a lot in Playa Grande. Just because, again, I found deals and the clients didn't want them, so I bought them myself.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
yeah.
But anyway,
Awesome.
we'll chat after the podcast, Kate.
Okay.
But yeah, no, really appreciate your time coming on the podcast. This has been great. For anyone that wants to reach out to Kate and use her services, I'll put all the contact details in the description. But really appreciate you finding the time to join us on the podcast, Kate.
Absolutely. I'm always here to help. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed that podcast there with Kate Gordon, guys. As you can see, Kate's been here for quite some time and has helped a variety of different people move here. So I think if you're looking to relocate to Costa Rica, and especially when it comes to residency and shipping things here, I would reach out to Kate. Again, as she said there, she's happy to chat with anyone. All of her contact details are there in the description. I mean, I think it's always kind of a balance between, do you want to bring in your car from the States or do you want to buy one here? Life is easier if you just buy it here. But of course, if you've already owned your car in the States, just the cost of bringing it in, you just need to kind of weigh those up between selling your car in the States and the cost to ship it here and the taxes compared to just buying it here and the ease of it. So I think important just to weigh those two things up when looking to do that. But anyone that's interested in chatting with us, you can do info@investingcostarica.com and info@investingcostarica.com. I appreciate all the support on the podcast, guys. I'll keep them going. We have quite a few kind of coming up here. Yeah, if you've enjoyed it, feel free to pass the pod. And until the next podcast, guys, we'll speak to you later. Bye.
The #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.